Okay, this video about formatting a book manuscript using Google Slides. So go to Google Slides and click on the new project icon, and you're going to be brought to this blank page. First thing you want to do is click on the edit button, the file button, and scroll down to page setup. And this is where you choose your trim size. So you're going to click on this button and scroll down to custom. And for this example, we're going to use a book that is 6x9. If you're not having any pictures that bleed in your book, you're just going to set it at exactly 6.9. But if you want bleed, you're going to need to add a little bit of padding according to the formatting rules that you can find on the KDP website. So I'm going to set this book to 6.125 by 9.25, and that is according to the KDP format guide. You can Google and find all their formatting specifications. Okay, so now my book size is set up, also known as trim size. So just click OK. So there you see the page changed to a 6x9 size. And it has the bleed in it, so it's a little bit bigger than 6x9. Next, we're going to go over to View. Actually, I want to show you, these are the themes that you can set up your book by. And they have many different themes to choose by. Personally, I just stick with the plain one. But here is where you can choose the layout of the book. That is basically how this page looks. So click on layout here, and there's many different options. And if you scroll down, there's a few more, even one that's completely blank. But since I'm going to do a mock chapter book, I'm going to use this layout here that has a title and a text area for the body. So here I'm scrolling over to View. I'm going to click on the master, and that is so that I can change the master file, and anything you do in this master file, it will carry over to all your slides or all your pages, so you don't have to continue to do it over and over again. So for my personal preference, I like all the text boxes to be the exact same width as the page. You don't have to do this. There's no real reason why you should do this. I just like knowing exactly how everything is lined up, and since I know exactly how big the pages are, the text boxes being the same size as width as the pages is helpful to me. So you can go through this whole master file and change anything that you want to be able to carry over to all your pages, and you don't want to have to continuously go back and change things. And remember, this mock book that we're doing is going to be set to bleed. So this 6x9 is actually a 6.125 width, which is what I'm setting all the text boxes to. Once you're finished editing the master file, everything will be set and you won't have to redo it again. So this will carry over to all the other files that you, or all the other pages that you add to your book. Okay, so click back over here to the pages, and now you can see that my text boxes are set as wide as the page. That's just how I like it. You can notice over here there are some guidelines and a ruler. If your page doesn't automatically populate with these things, you can add them. They're good to help you set your margins. This is a guide ruler at the top of the page. And the margin specifications are found in the format guide, again on the KDP website. That is where the format guides are. Okay, so we're going to add some guidelines. And to do that, so to set up the guides, just go up to the View button, click on it, and we're going to go down to the guidelines, and we're going to add some lines here. But mine already has a few lines, so we're going to use those first. This first guidelines, I'm going to click on it and drag it to where I want it to go. In your KDP guidelines, it'll tell you what your margins should be based on how many pages your book is. And so for a typical 6x9, that's like 100 pages, 150 pages, the margins need to be 0.375 on either side for bleed. But I'm going to set mine a little bit more because I like a little bit more margin on the side. So I'm going to set mine to 0.50, which is more than is required. So I'm going to go back over here to the guidelines, and I'm going to add a line. So there, the line just popped up, and I'm going to add a guideline on the other side to help me stay within the margins that we need to stay within according to the KDP format guide. And again, I'm going to set my margin on this side to 0.50. That is more than what is required, but that's what I like it to look like. You have to have it at least what is required. So to do the guidelines on this side of the page, you're going to have to do a little bit of math, which is a downside to this program, but it's not hard. Now my guideline disappeared here. I don't know why, but I can still see it on my screen, but for some reason it's not showing up on your screen. I'm going to set a guideline also for the bottom of the page. According to the KDP format guide, there needs to be at least, I think, a 0.25 around the bottom, but I'm going to set that to 0.50, which is twice as much as they require. Okay, so all my guidelines are set up, but for some reason it disappeared from the screen that you guys are looking at, but I have 4 guidelines there. You can click here on edit to make sure your guidelines are exactly where you want them to be. You can change these if you want to be really specific and the drag option wasn't working for you. But these are exactly where I want them to be. Okay, so now that my margins are all set up, I know that I need to keep my text within those margins. Okay, so I'm going to click up here at the first box, and I'm going to add my title. I'm just going to type in chapter 1. And I'm going to use these tools at the top to change the font style. And also you can use this to change the font size. While this is highlighted, I'm going to go up to the top here and I'm going to format it and centering it. There's other ways you can format it by scrolling down and clicking on Format Options. And here a toolbox pops up on the right side, and it will list a bunch of different options that you can use to format the text in this text box. The first box is just about the size of the actual text box. If you scroll down, you can edit or you can format some things about the text itself. For example, the padding around the text, the space between the lines, the top of the letters in the box. So if I change this, it's going to change the padding around the actual words. And then of course you can add a drop shadow by clicking this yellow box, or you can remove it by clicking on that box. There's also a mirror option that you can use. Just click on the box or to turn it on or turn it off. Okay, so here's our body area. So wherever you have your story, just copy and paste it from there, whether it be Word or Google Documents, which is what I use. So I'm just going to copy and paste it into this box area. And then again, I can highlight this and format it the way that I want. Also, I'm going to click undo because I want to mention that when you copy and paste, you can use the format that you already have in your Word document or your Google Documents or your text file by clicking paste with format. And I'm just showing you that you can paste it, two different ways. So if you paste it without your own personal formatting, just highlight it and format it the way you want, changing the text size. You can also change the type of font that you want to use. So you notice here that my text is outside of my margins. So what I do is I just drag the text box to the margins that I've set, or the guidelines that I've set for myself. That way that I know my text is within the margins. And I have guidelines on both sides of the page, but for some reason I'm not seeing it on the screen here when I recorded, but I could see it on the screen while I was doing it. So make sure you have guidelines on both sides that is set to the size that you want your margins to be. So now my text is formatted within the margins. And I'm just indenting here because I like to indent my paragraphs a little neater. So let's go up here to this plus sign, and that's how we add another slide or another page. Now for the second page, I'm not going to put a title on, so I'm just going to ignore that box. That box is not going to show up if I don't put anything in it. So I'm going to go to my file that I have written my story in, copy the second page and paste it here. Again, I'm going to highlight it and format it the way that I want it to be formatted. I'm just clicking back here to check what size I made the text. It's a good idea to write this down on a little notepad so you have it beside you, so you know that you're using, size 12 font, and you know what font you are using. That way you have all that information right on hand. Again, I'm adjusting the text box so it's within the guidelines that I've set. These guidelines are set to my margins. And I'm just adding some indentation. So let's insert a photo. Go over here to insert image, and hopefully you'll be uploading an image from your computer that you've made, or you've hired someone to get, or you found some free images online that are not copyrighted. But for this example, I'm just going to pull some images from online. Of course, we all know we can't do this in our real book. We have to use images that we've either paid for, we made ourselves, or they are not copyrighted. So just for example, I'm just going to pull these images from online. Just going to click on it and hit insert. And the image will be inserted into the slide. And then I can just click and drag on it to adjust it. Remember, for this example, we're setting the book to bleed, so our images have to go all the way to the edge of the page. So you see this blue line around the image, that is my image file. So that line needs to go all the way to the edge. Not necessarily the image itself, but the box around the image. The white space is included as an image. And I'm just adjusting this so that it doesn't cover my words. So let's insert another page so I can show you another trick with images. So get some more of my text and paste it here. I'm going to quickly format it to the correct size, to the correct margins. Again, there should be another guideline on this side, but I can see it on my screen, but it's not showing up on your screen for some reason. Okay, so let's insert another image. Okay. It's good. Okay, so again, I want to adjust this so that my image at least bleeds to the edge of the page, if not over it. Remember, on the left hand side, that is what is going to be showing up in your file. So just look at that while you're working. So you see here that the image is over top of my words. You don't want that. So I can go up here and arrange the images so it's behind the words. So I went to arrange and clicked on order and clicked on move back. So the image has been moved back behind the words. So here we're going to add in some page numbers. So just click down on slide numbers, hit OK, and it will insert the slide numbers into your document. Click on the numbers to change their position. And I'm just going to click on it and drag it to the top of my guideline and then to the center. This red line that pops up lets you know that it's centered. And I'm going to highlight it, go up to format so I can align it to the center just to make sure it's centered in that text box. You can also change the size. And slide numbers is under the insert button. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I went up to insert and then went down to slide numbers. Again, you move it over and you use this guideline. But since the image is here, I'm just going to delete that. I'm not going to put a page number on this page because it will be hidden by this image anyway. So I just delete the number out of there. on my keyboard, hit delete, and then I'm just going to move this out of my way. But this box is not going to show up if you don't put anything in it. So don't worry, it's not going to be there. So I'm going to go down to my third page and do the same thing. Click on the number, click and drag it using my guidelines to help me put it in the exact same place. Highlight it and change the size. Format it, make sure it's centered. Change the size. So I want to click on this again to add another page. And we can click on this page and drag it up and down to move it around. Let's say we forgot to insert a page, or we had a different idea and we wanted to insert a page in a different place. You can click and drag the pages up and down to rearrange them, even the pages that you've already worked on. And remember that this is a master layout that we did. So the title section is still here, even though I didn't use it on the last 2 pages, it still shows up. And you just continue to do this for your entire book. I think Google Slides is good if your book is not too long. I used this program for a book that was about 64 pages or so. Again, I'm just formatting this number, making sure it's centered and it's the correct size that I want it to be. Okay, so let's say that's your whole book. You're done. You're gonna want to go up and rename it in this box here at the top, so you know what your file name is. I'm just going to name it 3 Little Pigs. Then we're going to go to File and down to Export, and we're going to export this as a PDF file. That is the way that KDP likes its manuscripts to be in, even though they say they can be in different forms. I find that the PDF works the best. All right, that's it. Now you're ready to take it over to the KDP site and load it. Thanks for watching. Bye.